At 7:19 p.m., the rain turned mean. Before that, it was a normal grey evening over our small town. People were in the grocery store. Cars crawled through the main road. I was at the Quick Mart on River Street, counting gum packs, waiting for my shift to end. Then the downpour hit all at once. No slow start, no warning. It slammed the roof like 1,000 fists. The air smelled like metal and pennies. The light flickered. I stepped to the door to lock it. The rain was not a curtain. It was a wall. Each drop looked too big, too heavy, like small marbles. On the glass, I saw a reflection that wasn't mine. It looked like me, but the mouth was open wider, like it was trying to swallow the whole window. I told myself I was tired. I locked the door. I turned the sign to closed. A wet paper lay under the door gap. I didn't see it before. It must have been pushed in by the water or something. The ink had bled, but the words were still clear. At the top, someone had written, "Do not treat this like normal rain." Under that, there were rules, 10 of them. The paper shook in my hands. Do not open an umbrella with metal tips after 7:19 p.m. If you hear your name in the rain, do not answer. If the drops start to fall in a perfect grid, get under a roof and stand still. Do not talk. Do not look under a car while the downpour is heavy. If your reflection on wet glass smiles, turn the glass away. Do not touch your face for 1 hour. If a puddle ripples without raindrops, do not step in it. It is not a puddle. If the power goes out, count to 12. If it takes longer than 12 to return, sit down and cover your ears. Do not hum. If you see a clear circle of dry ground, do not stand inside it. If you stop hearing the rain, it is above you. Stay still. Dawn breaks the rules. But only if the birds sing. I read the list twice. My phone buzzed. It was my sister, Lena. "Are you inside?" she asked. Her voice trembled. "I'm at the bus stop near the old church. The rain, it's wrong." "I'm at work," I said. "Locked in. I'll come get you." "Don't," she said. "There's water where it shouldn't be. Just listen." She held the phone near the air. I heard rain, but under the rain there was a thin whistle. It sounded like someone blowing across a bottle top. Then I heard a soft voice say my name through the phone. Not Lena's voice. My name, stretched long, like it was being pulled through wet cloth. "Hang up," I said. "I'm coming. Wait." She said, "Someone left a paper with rules." "It says, I have the same paper," I told her. "Stay under the roof. Do not answer anything that says your name. I'll drive fast." I shoved the paper into my pocket and looked out again. The parking lot was an ocean. The rain hit and bounced, like it could not stand to be on the ground. A man ran past the window with a newspaper over his head. He vanished between 2 cars like he fell down a hole. I never heard him hit. The lights went out. I froze. I remembered Rule 7. Count to 12. If it takes longer, cover your ears. 1. I whispered, 2, 3. The darkness pressed against my eyeballs. I heard the roof breathe like it had lungs. 4, 5, 6. Something brushed my elbow. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The lights came back at 12. I watched my hands in the freezer glass door. My reflection looked pale but normal. I turned the glass anyway, just in case. Then tied a rag around the handles so I wouldn't see myself again by accident. I grabbed my keys and a thick raincoat. On the shelf under the counter were cheap umbrellas with metal tips. I left them. Rule 1. I wrapped a plastic poncho around my neck like a shield and stepped into the storm. The rain hit like gravel. I leaned forward. The parking lot had changed. The lines looked crooked, like the paint had melted and run. A puddle near my car rippled without raindrops. Rule 6. I stepped over it. When I bent to unlock the door, I remembered Rule 4. Do not look under a car. I kept my eyes on the door seam. Even so, I saw a shape move in the shadow under the chassis, a long soft shape that did not match any part of a car, like a sleeve full of water dragging itself toward my shoes. I threw myself into the driver's seat and slammed the door. For a second, the rain went quiet. Rule 9. If you stop hearing the rain, it is above you. I did not move. I did not breathe. Something slid across the roof. Long, slow, heavy. The metal dipped. The ceiling fabric above my head sank down like a hand pressed it from the outside. Then the rain came back in a rush, as if the thing had lifted away and the sky could breathe again. I started the car. The radio turned on by itself. No music. A voice spoke through static, calm and cheerful, the way people sell soap on daytime TV. Good evening, drivers, it said. At 7:19 p.m., the downpour changed. Please follow standard safety. Drive at 5 miles per hour. Do not use wipers. On the highest setting. Do not look left. I looked left by instinct. A man stood inches from my window, but only from the shoulders up, like the rest of him was buried in the water. His hair was wet and flat. His eyes were wrong. They were glossy like 2 drops. His mouth opened and shut, trying to catch rain the way a kid catches snowflakes. He lifted a finger and wrote on my glass with the wet OPEN. I did not open. I put the car in drive and crept forward. On the street, the downpour changed again. The drops landed in a perfect grid, like 1,000 little soldiers in straight rows. Rule 3. Get under a roof and stand still. Do not talk. There was no roof. I had to drive through. I lowered my head, held my breath, and counted the squares. My hood cut as I moved. The grid tried to match my speed. The water made a clicking sound like teeth. Then I turned a corner and the grid broke. By the old church, the bus stop roof shone like black glass. The ground around it was dry. A perfect circle. Rule 8. Do not stand inside it. Lena stood just outside the circle, shivering. She saw me and ran to the car. Something ran with her inside the dry circle, invisible, pacing her steps. I could see it only by what it did to the air. A thin wobble, a slow drag, the way heat bends the road on a hot day. Get in, I said. She jumped in and slammed the door. The dry circle rolled forward to feet, like it wanted to follow. Then it stopped, like it hit a wall. You saw the paper, she asked. I did. Did you hear your name? She asked. I did, I said. I didn't answer. Good, she said. Water ran off her coat onto the floor mat. It looked thick, like syrup. We drove, the wipers thumped. A street light on Birch Lane sputtered and went out. A second later, lights all down the road died, one by one, like a hand wiping a counter clean. We passed the playground. The swings moved, but not in the wind's way. They moved together, slow, and even, facing the same direction, as if a class stood there and the teacher said, now, back and forth. We're almost home, I said. I did not look left or right. I kept my eyes on the road, on the white line like it was a rope across. A river dot at our building. The steps were underwater. The rain made tiny crowns where it hit. I cut the engine. The radio voice returned. Remember, dawn breaks the rules, it said. But only if the birds sing. We ran for the door. Inside the stairwell, water dripped from the ceiling even though we were under a roof. The drops made a low hum. It changed pitch when we moved, like the water could hear us and was tuning itself in our apartment. We put towels at the bottoms of doors. We turned off the mirrors with blankets. I set a pot on the stove to boil water. I do not know why. It felt like something a normal person would do during a bad storm. At 9:04 p.m., the power went out again. The dark thickened. We counted to 12, together. 1, 2, 3. A slow, wet footstep came from the hallway outside our door. It paused by the welcome mat, the one that says hello. It said my name through the door in a voice that was not a voice. It sounded like water being poured in the shape of letters. 4, 5, 6. The air grew sweet, like old apples. 7, 8, 9. Lena grabbed my hand. Her skin was ice. 10, 11. On 12, the lights came back, and the footstep moved on. The rain on the windows grew loud again. I felt my knees go weak. We sat on the floor and waited. The clock ticked. Time stretched like gum. At 3:56 a.m., the rain stopped, not slowly. One moment the world was a mouthful of water. The next, it was a glass jar with the lid off. The silence hit so hard, my ears rang. Rule 9. If you stop hearing the rain, it is above you. We did not move. We did not breathe. Something touched the ceiling over the couch. The plaster bowed down like a belly. It sagged in a shape I wish I could forget. A face too wide, with no nose. Just two deep dents in a long groove where the mouth should be. It pressed there, like a kid pressing a face to a fish tank from the wrong side. My eyes watered. My teeth hurt, deep in the roots. The face slid toward the window. The glass trembled. Then, far away, a bird chirped. 1 chirp, 2, 3. Little thin notes, bright as pins. The shape above us thinned, then lifted. The window eased. The ceiling unbowed. Outside, another bird answered. Then the air filled with small, true sounds, like the world waking up slowly and carefully. Dawn broke the rules. We pulled the blankets off the mirrors. Our faces looked grey and tired. The towels were heavy with water, so dark it looked like tea. We opened the door. The hallway smelled like pennies and wet paper. On the floor outside, someone had left a new sheet. Dry, clean, fresh ink. It was the same rules, but with one more line at the end. If your roof sings after sunrise, do not stay. The downpour learned your tune. We stood very still. We listened. Our roof did not sing. The birds did. We thought we were safe. 2 days passed. The sun came out. The news said the storm cell was unique and historic. People posted videos. In many clips, I heard my own name said soft by the rain. Maybe it's a trick of hearing. Maybe you hear your own name because your brain wants to pause. I do not argue anymore. On the third morning, I made coffee and opened the window for a breeze. The world outside was bright, almost too bright. Leaves glittered. The street shone. It felt new, like someone had washed it. I smiled. I almost whistled a tune without thinking. Then I remembered the paper and pressed my lips together. A single drop of water crawled up the outside of the glass, against gravity, slow and stubborn. It reached the top of the frame and hung there like it was listening. Then, from inside our ceiling, very faint, came a sound like fingers drumming. On a table, it matched my heartbeat. It matched my breath. Tap, tap, tap. Lena looked at me with wide eyes. We did not speak. The birds outside went quiet all at once, like they saw a hawk. The roof hummed, low at first, then a little stronger, the way a person hums to test a note before they sing. It was our tune, the small, nothing tune. I hum when I make coffee and stare at the window. The tune I almost whistled. I closed the window, I packed a bag. I took the paper with the rules and folded it twice, then twice more, until it was hard, like a card. We left the apartment without looking up. Now when it rains, I do not open umbrellas with metal tips. I do not answer when the water speaks. I do not look under cars. I do not step in puddles unless I see the drops hit, and I do not hum near. Windows, they say dawn breaks the rules. Maybe, but sometimes the rules learn you back, and once they know your breath, they can follow you anywhere there is a roof to sing.